Folks, how can people afford this? I'll tell you what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for condos across the GTA for week ending January 8th, 2025. We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about the condo market. It's usually negative. It's usually people that got in trouble. It's usually people that are hurt financially. It's usually sellers having a hard time selling, buyers, getting tripped up on something. The stories are often negative, and which in turn gives a total negative feeling about the whole condo industry. However, the vast majority of condo owners don't have these issues. The vast majority of condo sellers, or not, let me say sellers, let me say investors, they don't have these issues. The issues when we're talking about the condo market is the condo market now and condo buyers that have purchased in the last few years. Because if you purchased years ago and you've got your condo rented, you're probably cash flow positive, you're good. And if you're thinking of selling now, but you bought years ago, you're making a profit. Appreciation has really kicked in your favor, but not if you bought within the last few years. None of these apply to you. So those are the people that we're mostly focused on. And so some things have changed that have gotten worse for people. A year or two ago, if we talked about renting out your pre-construction that has now closed, if you sell it, you're selling it below what you bought it for. So you closed and you chose to rent it out. You were cash flow negative. You were cash flow negative $200, $500, $1,000. Today, I'm hearing more and more stories of condo owners. They bought pre-construction, they've recently closed or are about to close, because you can do the math in advance. These people that have closed and are renting out their condos to help cover some of the expenses there, help cover some of the mortgage payments, they are cash flow negative $1,500 to $2,000 a month, many of them today. Now, I know some people that I've said this to personally, they've said, but interest rates are lower. How is it costing more? Why is this such a difference in, expenses and rent coming in? Well, look, interest rates being lower haven't really affected the vast majority of the population yet, but rents have come down. Rents are not where they used to be. Rents are so much lower now that what used to be $500 to $1,000 cash flow negative is now $1,500 to $2,000 cash flow negative. The lower rent and the purchase price. The condo owners that are closing now, that have recently closed and that are about to close, they purchased at the highest amount of cost per square foot in history, it seems. Like they purchased at the peak. These are the condo, when I say, how can they afford this? There's a lot of people being hurt by that difference in expenses versus what it costs to carry their condo and what they got coming in. And that difference of $1,500 to $2,000 a month that the condo owner needs to put in on top of whatever they receive in rent, that big amount, a lot of people can't afford to do that. So the option of renting it until the market turns around, for a lot of them, is not even there. Sure, they could do a few months here and there, but can they do 1 year, 2 years, 3 years like that? That's the big question for a lot of these condo sellers. And that's why we see a ton of condos being closed on and quickly put up for sale, because the option of rent just makes no sense for a lot of these people. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, It's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. We're going to talk about condo prices. Before we get into our weekly breakdown of what's going on with sales, I have here a summary going back multiple years. These are the data here for sales and average prices is by month. And I've got December, which is the last full month, highlighted in black. So we got the sales and we got average price. And we go all the way back to December 2020 on this chart. And if we look at sales, basically 606 condo, these are condo apartments, were sold for this past December. Previous December, we sold 641. That's December of 2023. So 641, 606, look, we're a little bit less. It's not so much less. We're the previous year, 642, so it's about the same. But we're way fewer condos being sold from December 21 and December 2020, where 1,547 condos were sold. And in 2021, 1,444 condos were sold for the month of December. So let's just round to 1,500 condos for the month of December were sold. This December, 606 condos were sold. Big difference in sales. Let's look at average sold price. When we compare average sold price in December 2024, which was $720,000 versus the year ago December, which was $709,000, we're actually up 1.5% from where average sold prices of condos were versus last year. Versus the year before that, we are down 2.7%. Versus 2021, which is the year before the last one, we're down 1.5%. When we go back to 2020, we're up 15% from 2020 prices. So we go back further, you'll see that we're up, in most cases, we're up higher. So it's the people that have purchased in 2021 onward to today where there hasn't really been that big of a change in prices. And that's kind of where the problems begin for a lot of people. Average sold prices from 20 to 2021 shot up to where kind of the first few months in the first quarter of 2022 was what we call peak pricing. And it's kind of sort of slowly downhill from there. We've not seen a drastic drop, but prices have generally been coming down since then. So that's the state of the condo market going back to 2020, and that's just for the city of Toronto. Months of inventory for this past December was 6.7 months of inventory. A year ago, December, was 4.7 months of inventory. Big difference as to then versus now. Okay, so here we go. We're going to be looking at the condo market for Toronto, York Region, and Peel. We're going to start off with the city of Toronto. Let's keep in mind, this is for week ending January the 8th. It's the first full week of the new year of 2025. Don't take these numbers so serious. We're kind of just, the market is kind of just starting to wake up, get into the swing of things. So for week ending January the 8th, sales are up over the previous week. 95 condos were sold. 3 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price way down from what we've seen. It's now sitting at $607,000. I imagine that's going to be changing as sales start to pick up and we kind of start getting into things. Compared to last year, 607 is 7% lower. Median price is 1% higher. And if we look at the dotted line of 4-week moving average, I've got the previous 3 months on the board here. Slowly looks like average price and median price has been trending down. I would expect, as we see most spring markets, that to kind of turn around a little bit soon. 95 were sold, 20% sold at list price or more. Listings way up from the previous week. We expect them to be going up at this time of the year. 695 condos were listed. There's a lot of condos sitting out there. 3,653. I'm going to go back one slide. 95 were sold, but there's 3,653 available for sale. Lots of choices out there, and that's just for the city of Toronto. Months of inventory, way up at 8.9 months of inventory. Here's the city broken down. Now, there's choices, lots of choices out there when it comes to condos. If we look at Scarborough, there's 13 sales, but 431 to choose from, active listings. If we look at Willowdale, Bayview, so we'll go uptown, 19 were sold, but there's 443 active listings. And I'm just picking areas here. If we look at Etobicoke, 13 were sold, but there's 376 active listings. There's lots of condos out there. We go right downtown, 26 were sold. There's 1,332 available for sale. So 26 out of 1,332 actually sold. York Region condos, 24 were sold. 2 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price shot up the opposite way of what's happening in Toronto. It's now at $712,000. But remember what I said, it's the first full week of the new year. We're just getting going. Don't take these numbers too seriously. We do expect sales to go up. This is normal. Compared to last year, 1712 is 6% higher. The median price is 3% higher. Median price is $658,000. 24 were sold. 8% of those sold at list price or more. Listings way up from one week to the next. But you know, the previous week was weekending January 1st. So you had New Year's in there. You had Christmas, you know, just after Christmas and Boxing Day in there. These 2 weeks in here, it's the holiday season. Not that many people looking to buy or sell properties. And a couple of weeks leading up to that, we're winding down to the new year, and now we're coming out of the holiday season. We expect things to go as they do every year this way. Months of inventory sitting at 5.9 months of inventory. Here's Peel Region. 18 condos were sold. Now, Peel Region condos, as far as sales go, acting a little bit different than some of these other areas. We've seen Toronto, I just showed you York Region also. Sales went right down and then started to shoot up again. They really didn't drop, you know, almost down to nothing. And, you know, we had 19, 16, 19, 18. So there's a bit more activity going on. But if you think about it, all of Peel Region, there's only 18, 19 condos sold. It's not really that big of a number. So 18 were sold. Average sold price sitting at $562,000. 562 is 6% lower year over year. Median price of $541 is also 6% lower. 18 were sold. 11% sold at list price or more. Listings way up from the previous week to 127. 682 are active listings. Months of inventory sitting at 8.7 months of inventory. Of the condos that sold, the average days on market is 72. Can you imagine? 72 days on market. Here's a quick summary. City of Toronto, York Region, Peel Region, they're above 5 months of inventory. York Region at 5.9 is a little bit above, but especially Peel Region and City of Toronto, you're definitely in a buyer's market when it comes to condos. Thanks for watching. So excited to see what progresses this year, and we'll report it here to you. Have a great day.